Board of Commissioners. Dear Commissioners, a regular meeting of the Delta County Board of Commissioners is scheduled for Tuesday, October 15th, 2024 at 5:15 p.m. in the conference room of the Delta County Service Center. Sincerely yours, Nancy Presrocki, Delta County Clerk. Please rise for a word of prayer. Lord, as we begin this meeting, we are thankful for our many blessings. We ask for guidance to help our commissioners make decisions in the best interests of the citizens of our county. And Lord, we pray for the safety of our military men and women. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Commissioner Melner.
Here.
Commissioner View.
Here.
Commissioner Crosdell.
Here.
Commissioner Vangenhoven.
Here.
And Commissioner Jensen.
Here. Okay, welcome everybody. And first thing on the agenda is the special order of business. Number 5, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, board meeting from 10/8/24. I need a motion.
So moved.
Support?
I'll support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass. Okay, number 6, approval of the agenda as written.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting as written.
I'll second.
Any discussion on? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Number 7, presentation of written communications received and forwarded. There are none. Number 8, reports of standing statutory special meetings and others.
There are none.
None. We go on to public comment on agenda items. Any public comment on agenda items? Any public comment on agenda items? Seeing none, we will move on to committee reports. Admin report.
We had several activities over the past month. One was the addressing committee met again, and we're moving forward with the project. A couple of us are going to be presenting to the Delta County Township Association on October 24th to give the townships an update. We have an upcoming internal health insurance group meeting that's going to be occurring tomorrow. The MIDC agreed upon procedure audit has been completed, so we're just waiting a report. I expect some recommendations on improvement of processes and procedures that we have. I'm currently going through and tying out year end and preparing for the fiscal, financial, and single audit for 24. The airport advisory, you'll see a couple items on the agenda. I attended their meeting. Also, Kylie Kalashak presented about maybe updating the mural in the terminal. So that was a great presentation. She has native family to Delta County, and I mean, they did a lot in aviation from like wind walkers, pilots, and even had a female airport manager. So it was pretty great to hear. I also took a tour of the forest land with our park manager, Steve Weary. I ran into a gentleman there who has been hunting in that land since the 1970s, and now he's hunting with his nephew, so he's preparing. It was just great to run into an individual that's utilizing the forest. We had a lot of discussion and just brainstorming ideas that we can bring to the Parks and Rec Commission during their development of the 5-year rec program. We also had a quarterly security meeting. This is required for our chief judge to orchestrate. I received no complaints, so that's positive. And the security, everybody is really thrilled with the new metal detector, the package scanning. We're still working on that new security policy, so that'll be coming forward to Building and Grounds. It's a lot of coordination, a lot of departments it affects. And then also the relocation of utilities. We just received our punch list report, which is kind of the last walkthrough. There's a couple things that need to be looked at and adjusted before we can close out the project. So that is all I have.
The only thing I would comment on is we got October 24th. I got an email from Mary, and it was October 23rd. She switched it
Oh, okay.
to Wednesday. Anybody else get that email?
No, I didn't get it.
Same time?
So I need,
Commissioner, same time?
yes,
Okay.
same place, same time. I need a motion to put the administrator report on file.
So moved.
Support.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passed. Departmental updates. Any departmental updates? Seeing none, we will move on to unfinished business. We got three of them. Airport RFP Aviation Fuel Supply Agreement.
Good evening, members of the board, members of the public. I'm very happy to present to you this evening the recommendations of both myself and the Delta County Airport Advisory Board concerning the RFP for the Aviation Fuel Supply Agreement. This represents overall a year's worth of work, actually. This is something that I initially started back last November when I identified that we had an aging fuel truck that required replacement. And from there, the question was, well, how do we go about procuring a new truck at, minimal to no cost to the airport? And what that eventually morphed into after many hours of research was finding and discovering the benefits of entering into a fuel supply agreement and what that would mean to our airport, not only in terms of obtaining a new fuel truck, but all the other services and benefits that are attached to this agreement. So the package that you have in your board packet here is actually 4 separate agreements. One itself is the Aviation Fuel Supply Agreement with AEG Fuels. There are 2 more that are related directly to the leasing of the fuel trucks. One is an overall master lease agreement. The other one is a lease schedule, which details some of the maintenance and some of the requirements of maintaining the trucks. And then the 4th agreement is from a software company called X1 FBO, which not only partners with AEG Fuels, but does a lot of business around the country and with other fuel providers. They basically provide software packages that streamline and make things more efficient for airports and FBOs, fixed base operators, to do business. So it will very much benefit what we're doing at the airport. And I know I've been told before that I am sometimes overly detailed. So instead of going through every single detail, I will just, if you have any questions in particular about these agreements, I'd be happy to take them and answer them for you. I will say, though, that for the RFP, we did receive 4 proposals. I spent a considerable amount of time grading and evaluating each of those proposals. I provided my recommendations to the Airport Advisory Board. It came down to 2 companies. The Airport Board and myself, we received face-to-face presentations from those 2 companies. And the Airport Board and I eventually decided that we would want to go with this company, which is, I've been negotiating these contracts for the past month, going back and forth between the county attorney's office and the companies until we finalized them to the point where we want them, where we think they're fit for the airport and Delta County.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Any more discussion?
Excuse me.
One question, Mr. Chair. What is the monthly SAAS subscription charge? Is that, do we sell that much fuel that we're not, or if we don't sell enough fuel, are we gonna be penalized? I didn't understand that section right there real good for the low volume of the program. How would that affect us if we didn't, we have to sell the 500,000 gallons?
No, we don't have to sell the 500,000 gallons. However, that's for the software agreement, the X1 FBO. If we remain under the 500,000 gallons annually, then we essentially have a price break on the software package. We have it at a discounted rate. If we exceed the 500,000 gallons, then that price break is removed. But in essence, that matters very little to us because AEG has very generously decided to pick up the tab for the terms of the agreement.
Okay, and the discount is listed there in the middle. Okay, it wasn't clear to me what that meant, so thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work on that.
Thank you. Okay, we go to number 2, evaluation template. We've had that on the table for a while. We still,
I added to the evaluation, language, if your rating is a 1, 2, or a 10, please provide a brief explanation to support your assessment.
Yep.
That was the only change I made from the last meeting.
Yep.
Move to approve.
Support.
any discussion?
Yes, I'd just like to thank Ashley for all of her hard work on this with Steve and I and personnel. And it was a great collaborative effort, so I appreciate you.
Thank you, I appreciate you too.
I think, I was gonna say, I think we were already seeing the fruits of the template, as we'll see later on in the meeting, where, you know, we're already looking at another department utilizing the framework
share.
for that, same evaluation. So I think that'll be a good thing for all concerned going forward.
Good. Thank you all for doing all the work for this. Any more discussion? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Number 3, interim employment policy.
I also had one modification on here, it was, I added 90 to 100 days,
Yep.
Unless extended by the Board of Commissioners.
I didn't see that in mine.
Yeah, it's way at the, it's at the end.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. It's 90 to 180.
Just let me double check. There's so many copies in here.
I know.
That's all the changes we've made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that. So
It's great to see a working document.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll move that we approve the interim employment policy as updated in today's packet.
Support?
Okay, any discussion?
Just thank the committee and our administrator Ashley that, and the commissioners that came up with some of these last minute things that were very helpful in making this as best we can.
Yeah, we had, Steve and I had very frank conversations with Ashley about, you know, her situation when she was brought in as interim, her responsibilities, and, you know, what she felt were, worked well for her, what didn't work well for her, what she, you know, what we could do in the future to make it better. So this being a revolving document really, you know, and a work in progress really helped everything come into fruition. So thanks again, Ashley, for our conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you
And not
for all-
only that, we talked about, we hope we never have to
Use it again, yeah.
But
And
just in
again,
case
thank
we-
you, everybody, for working on this. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass. We will move on to new business, payment of the bills.
I've examined all claims presented and recommend payment of the following, and that the county clerk be directed to issue orders on the county treasurer to the claimants for the amounts allowed. Grand total of bills, $411,668.89. Commissioner expenses, 0.
I'll make a motion that we pay payment of the bills of $411,668.89.
Get a second?
No commissioner expenses.
Support.
Okay, we need a roll call vote?
Mr. View,
Yes.
Crosdale,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Dankenhoven,
Yes.
and Milner.
Yes. Okay, we got our bills paid. We will move on to number 2, presentation of Veterans Transportation Network.
We have Katie Maxon here, who is the Chief of Public Affairs at the Disabled American Veterans. She's going to be discussing their transportation network service.
Good evening. I
Good evening.
honestly 1,000% just came here to provide a little information and a thank you. I've been in my role at the Oscar G. Johnson VA Medical Center for about 7 years now. I oversee both our voluntary service program and our public affairs, so I get to do all the fun stuff at our VA. You guys are aware we do have a clinic here in town, but in addition to that clinic, we have 7 other clinics that are spread across our catchment area. By nature, we are the most rural VA in the nation. It's not because we're the most spread out or we cover the most mileage, but it's because 96.4% of our veterans are defined as rural or highly rural because of where they live. We are a rural nation, we are a rural area. We cover the whole UP and 9 counties in northern Wisconsin. And in mostly 8 of those areas where we have our clinics spread out throughout the catchment area, we also have a DAV transportation van, much like what you see here in town with Dave Xavier, your veteran service officer. We are also unique in the matter that we run this veteran transportation network with the support of those veteran service officers that you guys partner with and help to support. We do that in both Wisconsin and Michigan in the DAVs that we have. This is also unique. I believe, I can't for sure, but I do believe we are the only VA in the nation that also uses county veteran service officers to partner with. Most VAs have a hired individual that works in that role, that schedules those appointments and brings people in and out. The problem that we run into is that those are very urban areas. So they also have all of their vehicles parked right there at their facilities. So think that one through for just a minute. If we have an appointment from a veteran coming from Sault Ste. Marie and the van's parked in Iron Mountain, it'd be a 4-hour trip there and a 4-hour trip back for the appointment and then a 4-hour trip for, so the logistics of having, doing things the normal way, the way the VA does them, just doesn't work for us. So we've been, I'd love to say I invented this. I did not. I came into it, but I was astounded once we dug into it to see the support, the networking, and really the commitment of county boards like you that support those county veteran service officers, the commitment of those county veteran service officers that support that. They work directly with our volunteer drivers. We have about 125 volunteer drivers across the UP in northern Wisconsin that help bring our veterans in for appointments. Without them, access to care would be astronomically difficult for our veterans. There are a lot of them that rely on that care for appointments, for anything from just general primary care appointments all the way to specialized care in neurology, ophthalmology, audiology, all of those things that we provide services for at the VA. And they wouldn't have access to those services as quickly, as easily, as efficiently, and as effectively as they would if we didn't have those county veteran service officers that help us with that. So we do have 10 vans across the UP. Marquette has a grant from MVAA that provides a local van, so they do an added bonus of delivering people from their homes right to the Marquette clinic that's there. Otherwise, the other 9 vans all reside, 8 of them reside out within the communities and bring folks in. One of them here is in Iron Mountain, and we do a door-to-door delivery with Iron Mountain, Kingsford residents, same thing. Iron Mountain and Ontonagon are the only 2 that function off of volunteers. So we have a volunteer coordinator in Iron Mountain and a group of volunteer coordinators in Ontonagon. Otherwise, the other 7 remaining are all those county veteran service offices that maintain that that coordination for us. So they're just enormously good partners for us. So I did include a little bit of information tonight. Just gives you some general information on what we do. I know last year, those volunteers in that DAV program transported 1,555 veterans over 155,000 miles. So when you start to do the math on those efforts, and you can kind of see some of the hours of service that are in there as well. We had over 10,000 volunteer hours altogether, both in driving and regular volunteering at our facility. But it's a very moving when you start to think about some of the things that these drivers do. Delta in particular, we've been very grateful. We're starting to see more and more specialty care being referred out to the Marquette area. In rural healthcare, it's harder and harder to recruit. So sometimes we are sending folks to Milwaukee. We have a bus that takes our veterans from our Iron Mountain facility to Milwaukee and back, but that's still a 4-hour trip. So if there's a specialty care that might be available for a veteran in the Marquette area, Delta has now worked with those veterans to be able to transport them up to Delta and back, not just to Iron Mountain and back. So really being flexible enough to be able to meet the veterans and the needs that they have and be able to provide that for them. So I really wanted to come tonight, thank Dave for everything that he does to support that network, and really wanted to thank the counties for their investment in prioritizing that access to care for veterans. So that's why I'm here, is just to say thanks. We appreciate your support, and most probably don't even think twice about it. So I really wanted to make sure that you knew how important it was and how much it means to our veterans and to our facility to be able to have that access to care. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, did you have any questions for me on the VA or?
I have a comment. When you say the county or the board, it's the people. I'm telling you right now, whenever something comes up with the vet, the people have talked to me and pushed the support of all this stuff, so I have been trying to be on board as much as I can to support this because of them.
Thank you.
And then this question do you bring that bus to Milwaukee with one person? It just bugs me because I'm a bus driver and I'm thinking, well, do you coordinate that
It's
so
a
that
beautiful
there's?
big bus, but yes, we are good stewards with your financial dollars and we take a smaller bus. Usually
It's
if
not
we
a
have-
bad question, you
Usually
know.
if we have less than, the only, and in addition, usually if we have less than 3 or 4 people scheduled to go, then they take a smaller bus.
Okay.
And they are able to accommodate. The only downside is we have a restroom on the big bus. So
Yes.
that you gotta kind of weigh out who's going too.
Well, that's called a motor coach, just to
yeah,
correct you.
motor
It's not a bus.
Yes. Thank you, the motor coach. It's very pretty. But we do also, just so you guys are aware too, it not only stops and it doesn't just take patients from the Iron Mountain area. We do stop along the way in Abrams. They stop in Green Bay, and I think they have a third, Crivets, a third stop in there. So they will meet patients along the way. So just in case if there's only 2 or 3 people on the bus that are, when it leaves, quite often it picks up folks along the way and drops them back off that night. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, twice a week, we go down and bring patients to Milwaukee for appointments.
And then the last thing, how does someone who wants to volunteer get involved? I mean, you haven't, just get a hold of.
Get a hold of Dave, and Dave will keep them in touch with us. We have 10 volunteers right now from the Escanaba area. They typically come over, we kind of try to schedule on Tuesdays and Thursdays to come on over, and we seem to be pretty well-staffed right now.
Okay.
With the addition of the Gladstone Clinic, it really cut back on, we were going, Dave was coming over on pretty much a bi-week, twice a week, on every Tuesday and Thursday. He'd have anywhere from 1 to 3 people kind of squished in that little Explorer. With the addition of the clinic in Gladstone, we've cut back and probably comes 2 to 3 times a month, and that's pretty flexible. And again, he's been flexible on days and times, getting folks over there to get on the bus or bringing them back. So we've been very grateful for that support and flexibility in meeting the veterans' needs, so.
I was gonna say, the one big bonus for someone that does use the facilities, the Gladstone Clinic is huge. Because if you live, even say if you take Rapid River, for example, it's almost equal distance to have gone to the Manistee Clinic, the clinic in Marquette, or to the hospital. And, they were within, 5-6 miles of which one you were gonna get an appointment at, versus now, it's, at most, it's 20 miles for the folks that live there versus, 50 plus.
It was a great convenience. We were real lucky. About 3 years ago, they came in with a market study through Big VA and came through and gave us some pretty big directives on what they wanted to see done. And we were very fortunate. We had a very progressive and strategic thinker at our helm, and he had put a lot of changes and things into support. And one of the 4 recommendations that we walked away with, and that was pretty amazing at the time, one of them was to put a clinic into Gladstone, and it was already halfway through being done, so they checked the box off before they even left. So we were grateful that we've had the capacity to add that
And the
clinic here, and
staff
it's been
there is
successful.
absolutely amazing.
We get
They are second to none.
quite a bit of feedback on our clinic out here on how great they are. So thank you. I'll pass that along. Any other questions?
Thank you for all
No.
you do.
Thank you for all the
Thank
work
you
you
for letting me
do.
have a few minutes tonight. It really
Absolutely.
was important to me that, and thanks for giving credit to the people and what they vote on. I hope they are supportive. We really are
Yeah,
grateful for
we
that.
have something coming up now, and
That's-
I just,
That's fantastic. My fingers are crossed. I hope it goes well. So
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Okay, that was all information. We will go on to number 3, the 2024-2025 airport fee schedule.
We're just starting the fee schedule. I think maybe a little bit of context for the board might help with this, but actually, I'll start by saying this. Airports make revenue, they produce revenue in a number of different ways, but the 2 primary ways airports such as ours produce revenue are through the sale of aviation fuel and the fees that we assess against certain types of aircraft that visit the airport. And one of my overall long-term strategic goals for the airport is to reduce the price of our fuel, the retail price of our fuel, to attract unrealized revenues, to attract more customers, to increase to capture what in the business they refer to as uplift, to basically sell more fuel. But unfortunately, we're in a position with the way our revenue is structured right now, our revenue model at the airport. If I were to slash fuel prices today, it would be disastrous for our budget. We have to figure out a way, where can we make up revenue in another area? And I started searching for that, and I discovered back in August that our fee model, the fees that we were charging aircraft that were visiting the airport was inadequate. It was a bit outdated by about 10 years or so. And the very structure of it, the way it was physically set up, was just inadequate. It didn't match what a lot of neighboring airports and what airports around the country were doing. So I approached the Airport Advisory Board in August about this. They asked me to return to them a month later, which I did in September. And after doing a lot of research, I came out with a new fee schedule, which basically detailed all the different fees and how we could charge different aircraft visiting the airport, and we can make revenue off of that. And the Airport Advisory Board voted and approved it, and we wanted to enact it effective October 1st. However, since making that decision and the fee schedule becoming active, we then discovered that at the time, we weren't permitted to, at the airport, to unilaterally do that, that it required county permission to do that. So that's why I'm here. That's one thing. Between October 1st and October 14th, however, I should add that I received a lot of feedback from the general aviation community, which is, for the most part, not as much of a public-facing community as commercial aviation is. I think it's fair to say when everyone thinks about the airport, they think of SkyWest Airlines, they think of commercial air service, where can I go on vacation? Well, the lifeblood of many airports, including ours, is the general aviation community. And the general aviation community, we want to welcome the GA community, we want to grow the GA community. And the feedback I received from the GA community, including neighboring airport managers who themselves are GA pilots, was, we see what you're doing with the fee schedule. We understand that you need to make more money. We understand that you want to lower fuel prices. Those are all great ideas. But assessing fees, no matter how nominal, against general aviation aircraft, and when I say general aviation, we're talking about the single-engine piston-style aircraft with a single propeller, the small Cessna, the 172s, things of that nature, or sometimes the twin-engine propeller-driven aircraft. Assessing fees, no matter how small, it's a bit of a stigma, and the GA community really, to be perfectly honest, for lack of a better term, they resent it. And the feedback I got was, these are hobbyists for the most part, and it's expensive to fly and maintain these aircraft. And assessing any fee on top of what they're already spending to fly and maintain their aircraft makes it even more burdensome for them. So what I did is, I believe initially I kind of overcorrected. I went from this old antiquated fee schedule where, in my opinion, the airport was literally missing out on a lot of revenue, to making something that's a lot more modernized, that will help us increase revenue so we can lower fuel prices in other areas. But I think I overcorrected a little bit. And based upon the feedback that we received from the GA community, I made a revision today, an amendment, if you will, to the fee schedule that you have in your board packets. And essentially what I did is I adjusted the prices for those the GA aircraft to the minimum possible, actually to none. The only fees that the GA aircraft would ever pay when visiting our airport are overnight parking fees, small overnight parking fees, $5 for smaller aircraft and $10 for twin-engine aircraft. And that's a widely accepted practice at many airports, and all the GA people I've spoken with are completely fine with that. What they don't want to do is they don't want to visit our airport and have to pay landing fees and facility charges and things that we typically assess towards larger corporate or charter aircraft, or even commercial aircraft for that matter. And I can understand, after having spent some time speaking with them, I can understand where they're coming from, and I can appreciate that. So with the amended fee schedule, which is not in front of you, if you like, I can walk you through the small amount of changes I made so we can all understand that and agree on. But the single-engine piston aircraft, if you look at the top part of that fee schedule, it talks about a landing fee, and that is assessed every time, essentially, the aircraft lands at the airport. Now, there are cases where visiting aircraft sometimes they'll do what's called touch and goes. If they're training or they're student pilots, they'll fly in, they'll touch the runway, they'll take off, circle around, do it over and over again. We don't charge them multiple times for that. In the case of these GA aircraft, that landing fee has always been zero and will remain zero. We're not going to charge small propeller-driven aircraft to land at our airport. The ramp fee is also remaining unchanged, $5 per night. The GA community, the feedback I got, they were fine with that. The real sticking point for them was the facility and handling fee. And basically what that means is anytime someone comes to the airport, they park their aircraft, if they deplane or implane, if a passenger or a pilot gets out of that plane and they put foot on the apron and they make use of our facilities, we charge them a nominal fee, which we would take that money and invest it into our budget to, of course, maintain those facilities. Initially, I wanted to charge $11 for a facility fee, and that was a bad idea. So I reduced that to zero. And again, for the smaller aircraft, again, hearing the voices of the GA community, all we're looking to charge is a $5 overnight parking fee. For the twin-engine piston aircraft, and these are principally in operation the same type aircraft, they're just a little larger, they have two engines. We were planning charging a landing fee of $27. We're reducing that to zero, again, because the majority of these aircraft, not all, but the majority of the twin-engine piston-style aircraft are privately owned or general aviation aircraft. So 27 to 0. Ramp fee from $11 rounded down to $10, and a facility handling fee of, we originally wanted $27, we're just gonna reduce that to 0. So the two style aircraft that are predominantly general aviation aircraft, we want to lessen the financial burden on the pilots and the operators of these aircraft as much as possible to welcome them to the airport and to increase our GA traffic at the airport. In addition to that, helicopters, previously I made a distinction between the different types of helicopters and the nature of their operation. I borrowed this model from a neighboring airport because there's piston-driven helicopters and there's jet turbine helicopters. Based again upon the GA community's inputs, I made a distinction instead between commercial helicopters and privately owned helicopters. And again, the privately owned helicopters are our GA customers. So in my mind, we don't want to pass on a financial burden to them. So I likewise made reductions in all those areas. Commercial helicopters, of course, owned by companies or corporations that are doing business in the area would be assessed the fees that you see on the schedule there. One other change I made was rounding down the prices that you see there. There's a few prices, $54 here, $62 here. In the interest of fairness and placating a large group of people that provided us input, I've just rounded those down. So the overall price reduction is about 7%, and that includes what would have been a projected CPI increases for the next year. So we've gone from $54 to $50 in some cases, or $62 to $60 in some cases, and I think that's a great starting point. And then lastly, there was a fee of $750 per night for a transient hangar fee for a large jet. And while that sounds incredibly expensive to park for a single night, it is, but it's not unheard of. Again, in the interest of attracting business, I've lowered that from $750 to $500 per night, which is very fair for a jet that size and for the facilities and infrastructure it takes to maintain it while it's there overnight. So those are the changes. And my intent, if the board approves this fee schedule, is to take it back to the airport tomorrow, put it in place, make it active, and continue on with it as planned.
We have currently two large-sized jets sitting on the ramp right now, right, under the old?
Yes, that's correct. And one of the frustrating aspects of this, when we had discovered that the airport could not, or I couldn't do it unilaterally, or the airport advisory board could not approve it in itself, is what I was forced to do upon receiving that notification was roll back to the original fee schedule, which is kind of, for lack of a better term, is a flat rate schedule. So essentially, an aircraft that's like a turboprop aircraft, a cargo aircraft, a smaller cargo aircraft, would pay the same landing or parking fee as a private jet that costs about $14 million. And it didn't scale. And we have two charter jets rather, that are sitting out there right now where we would be, if they're departing tomorrow, we'd be collecting several $100s together on those jets. But because I'm forced to currently observe the old fee schedule, we're going to collect about $75. And it's just, lost revenue. So I'd very much, in any way possible, of course, we go with the parliamentary procedure and the rules that we have to follow. If we could somehow work on getting this fee schedule approved, it would very much benefit the airport and what we're trying to accomplish. Yes, so there's a transient hangar fee schedule at the bottom of the document, the bottom left-hand corner, and that is based upon aircraft configuration and weight. And the most expensive of these is for a large jet, So these would be guests visiting the airport, commercial and corporate guests and charter guests. For the largest of jets, which would take up the entire hangar space and prevent us from storing any other type of aircraft in there, I'd originally planned to charge $750 per night, but I lowered that to $500, which is quite a deviation, but again, it's in the interest of trying to meet everyone in the middle and trying to attract business and trying to grow business at the airport.
So for the folks that are watching on Zoom or in the audience tonight, for the small, medium, and large size jets, it's not just, what you look at, the size. For commercial aviation, for stuff like that, it's by weight. So like a small jet, for example, is between 10,000 and 15,999 pounds. And a medium, then it's from 16,000 to 39,999. And then large jets are 40,000 and above.
Right. And as a thumbnail comparison, and I apologize, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, so please feel free to fact check later. But if a jet of that size were landing down in an airport, like a neighboring airport, like Menominee, for example, they would charge them for landing there, I think it's something in the neighborhood of $175, which is completely reasonable, and it's what most airports around this area do. Up until recently, we were charging them $50. So you can see where over time, you get that many operations, you're missing out on $125 per landing. It adds up.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to make the comment that I like your creativeness in trying to sell fuel. Just out of the interest of, you will waive the facility handling fee only if they buy so much fuel. And each level talks about, buy 50 gallons of fuel, it's waived all the way down to 25 gallons. So you give them an incentive to at least lower the price a little bit by fueling up here when they come here, and that'll help also give revenue for the airport, correct?
Correct, and I appreciate that, thank you. But I can't take credit for that idea. That's an idea I borrowed from some of our neighbors. The airport's policy in the past is we used to waive every fee with any purchase of fuel. So anyone could come in, if they pumped a gallon of fuel into their plane, you waive everything. And what we're doing now is incorporating that facility fee, because although we receive federal dollars and grants to maintain our runways and taxiways, the airport at the end of the day still has to pay a local cost for that maintenance. Granted, it's a very small percentage of the overall cost, but we still have to pay it. So the question is, where do we get that money from? And that is through the collection of facility charges.
Well, don't feel bad borrowing stuff. It's beneficial.
now we need a motion, is what you're looking for right now, to make the changes, what changes you just told us?
Yes, Commissioner, that's correct. Oh, yes, thank you. So there were some recommendations from the Airport Advisory Board for future changes to the schedule that if I were allowed to do it unilaterally or report to the Airport Advisory Board, would make things a lot simpler for us instead of reporting back to the county board every time. And that would be that the proposed service fees be revisited annually to incorporate appropriate CPI adjustments, just the cost of living adjustments, whatever that is according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. That the airport manager be provided the authority to make all subsequent annual CPI adjustments. That price adjustments only take place when compounded CPI increases result in whole dollar increases to published prices. So what does that mean? That means if we look at CPI this time next year and it's, the price right now is $50 and it goes up to $50.12, we're just gonna keep it at $50. But once it gets to $51, then we're gonna increase it, obviously. And that a disclaimer be added along with the fee schedule noting that prices shall be considered and adjusted annually, which is already published on the website. We just have to insert the fee schedule there. So basically, we're looking for the approval of the amended fee schedule and then the authority at the airport to increase it on an annual basis only for the cost of living adjustments.
Can we do those as one, or do we need
I think it would be separate.
separate?
They need to be separate,
Yeah. Excuse me.
in my opinion. Okay, I mean,
No, they need to be separate.
Maybe separate, yeah.
one thing, I'll support this, but I cannot vote for it unless do you have a copy of the changes because you even spoke about the large jets, 40Ks, you said 750, and they're going down to 500, and my schedule says 700. And I tried to write down all the changes so that I'd have a mental picture of it, but there was quite a few, and you didn't give any changes for the helicopter piston one. Is that staying the same, the 22,
It's going
22?
commercial to- yeah.
I do apologize, you are correct. For the transient hangar fee for the large jet, it is 700 to 500, not 750. The original price was 700 to 500. And for the helicopters, that is the fee schedule. That's the actual airport, or the airport fees. Instead of being divided between helicopter piston and helicopter turbine, it's gonna be helicopter private and helicopter commercial, and anything under
Well,
private is
The
reduced.
fees will stay the same, but the wording will change.
In the case of the helicopters, the wording and the fees will change to the benefit of our GA customers. We're just going to lessen any burden on them.
I mean, there's quite a few changes in here, and I just have,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's just my thought right now. Do you have the
Understandable.
changes with you?
No, I do not. I didn't bring a copy with me, unfortunately.
Do you want to go through them one more time? If we don't approve it tonight, then it would have to wait till the first meeting in November, and then we're gonna lose all of those funds.
Well, I'd like to approve it. Do you have a hard copy there?
No, I do not.
Because I was gonna say, just write in the hard
Depending on how
copy
long-
so I can see it.
Depending on how long this meeting goes, I can get you a hard copy.
You know what I'm talking about. I just need to see it. I know there's
No.
gonna be someone out there questioning, do you remember what this was? Can you
Okay.
print one, Ashley?
I can email it to you.
Email it.
Well, I have it here.
No,
Oh,
she's-
the new one?
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll
I just
send you the
took- these are-
changes.
It's really brief, just notes.
Okay, oh, great. I knew you were good.
I was writing them down.
Then I'll make a motion to adopt the amended fee schedule as
As presented.
presented.
I'll support that.
Any more discussion?
Well, let's let Steve look at it first.
Yeah, okay, I can see it here.
Then you can compare it with that.
Okay, I have documentation of the change. Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed on the fees.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, we have to do the second motion now.
Now we need a second motion.
And that would be to grant authority to our administrator. What's it? I'm sorry.
To adopt the recommendations from the airport board for the airport manager.
The annual adjustments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it the airport board or is it the administrator?
The administrator,
Administrator.
right? Yes.
I think in their recommendation, it was the airport manager.
Okay, so the airport manager.
So
Okay.
the second motion's gonna be, can you tell
Sorry,
me
I
what
call
it
you, I
is
call you
again?
airport administrator, airport manager. Apologies.
Right, and I knew that.
Okay.
Yeah, so ideally, we would like to, at the end of every year,
Yeah, mhm,
have me go to the airport board and then have them approve it.
got it.
Can we add one thing to that? I mean, there isn't a motion yet, but I would like our administrator to have the okay of that with you. I would like to have, a check and balance, because we ran into issues with things being done before, and I just think whoever is the administrator along with the airport manager, which both of yous are in that position, but later on, you don't know what would happen, and it's minimal, but still, I like that check and balance.
Well,
So
you
both of them.
actually already kind of have that,
We already do,
because
yeah.
not only do you have the advisory board, you have two commissioners that sit on that to report back to this body. So that information's still.
Well, I thought we passed something prior that we needed a report every time. From
That
the-
was with the FAA.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was with the annual thing.
Okay,
and
well, I'm just trying to
That was,
Okay,
cover the bases.
could you read the motion again?
I didn't make a motion, did I?
Eh? Oh, nobody made a motion?
No, I just said,
Okay.
I just wanted to know the specific wording of how we would word this motion.
Do you wanna go ahead then?
No, because I'll mess it up, I'm sorry.
Well,
Matt, go ahead.
let's just make the motion that the airport
Yeah,
manager with oversight of the administrator can increase, what was that called, the COLA clauses or
The
something?
airport fee schedule.
The
for-
airport
for-
fee schedules
For annual cost of living adjustments.
for annual cost of living adjustments.
Okay. I need a motion?
That's his
That's-
motion.
That's what
Okay.
I mean, he helped me
Well,
word it
support.
properly.
Technically, it'd be consumer price index.
Yeah.
Consumer
Yeah.
price
Yeah.
index,
CPI,
yeah.
Not COLA, I was gonna ask about that, yep.
Okay.
All of this
Need a second?
jargon.
I'll second.
Yeah, there you go.
Any more discussion?
Pretty
All in
clear cut.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Thank you, Bob.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
I
Thank you.
appreciate your patience.
Okay, number 4, Planning Commission bylaws update.
Attached in your packet are the current and updated bylaws from the Planning Commission. The noted changes are Article 3, Section C. There was the removal of unexcused absences and change may to shall. Article 4, Section F, modification of administrative secretary to recording secretary. And those were the only changes that were made. We do have changes for the ordinance. And I know that's number 5, and the only reason why I'm bringing it into 4 is I did speak with the Board of Commissioners Secretary, and last time we made adjustments to the ordinance, we did a public hearing. So I don't want to approve this bylaw without approving the ordinance, because then we have our ordinance and our bylaws don't match. So I'd like to do it all at once,
Just a table?
just a table.
Okay. I'll make the motion to table the planning commission bylaw update.
Okay, can I have a second?
I'll
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed.
And we're gonna schedule for the public hearing for the ordinance update for,
Tracy will get it, the
For
notification, the
next month.
publication out for next month.
okay.
Perfect.
So
And
we're
then-
skipping 5.
Yeah.
And then
Do you,
number,
number 5, do you want me to go through the changes, or? no? It's
They're very
it's
few.
similar to the
Yeah, yeah.
bylaws.
They match now.
They match
match.
now.
yeah. So are we gonna have a
We're gonna-
motion to table that one?
I'll
or-
make that motion to table
I'll
un-
support.
until a public hearing can be
Okay. All in favor?
conducted.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Number 6,
This is oh, sorry.
go for it.
Yep.
This is an announcement of an opening for the Human Service Board. The application is attached in the board packet for those of you that received the board packets, and then also you can ask for it in from administration. You do have to mail this application in to the state. Listed below on the application is the address. So when we receive the appointment from the state, we'll acknowledge this. So there's no action needed.
No action needed on the human services. Okay.
Yes.
No
Mr.
action
Chair,
need-
can I ask a question of the administrator?
Yes.
Is there a deadline on this? Do you know of a deadline?
I don't believe they stated any deadline.
No, they didn't.
So do you know the date of appointment that they want to appoint someone, or it's just going to be open till filled? I'm just
It will
trying
be
to,
open till filled.
Okay.
Yes.
just in case somebody out there wants to apply.
Okay. Any more questions? We'll move on to number 7, appointment to the Building Authority. There's 5 openings.
There is 5 openings. We currently have 2 vacancies and 3 appointments that are expiring in November. The 3 individuals are asking for reappointment to the building authority. However, I just want to clear, we have 2 vacancies, so if anybody wants to apply, you pick up an application at the clerk's office, or you can apply online. So we're looking for approval for those.
Do we have to
to
make a
reappoint
motion for
those
them
3.
3?
Do we have to do them individually? Yes, right?
No, just one, eh? One motion for it?
motion to appoint all,
All-
reappoint all three.
Reappoint all three, okay.
So I need a motion on that.
Make the motion that we reappoint Tom Perolero, Ashley Young, and Larry Johnson to the Building Authority.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass. Okay, number 8, appointment to the airport board, 2 openings.
We have 2 appointments that are expiring in December. Brad Hero, Will Karn, they both requested to be reappointed to the advisory board. We did receive another application from a David Deno, who was interested in the appointment to the board, and we're just seeking approval for 2 of the positions. I thought it was, oh, I'm
It's
sorry,
Brad
it's
Reed.
Isn't it
Brian.
Brian Hero?
Yeah.
It says Brad Reed.
Brad,
Them names
Oh.
ain't on
Yeah.
there.
I apologize, okay.
Is that okay? It's Brad?
Yep, it's Brad Reed.
Okay.
Okay.
and
I
we'll,
transposed it wrong.
okay,
That's okay.
Did our packet include the application?
Yes.
Yep.
Of the individual, the,
Yeah, I didn't
If
see
you go
it.
back to new business.
yeah.
Yep, it's in there.
Brad Reed and Will Karn are currently sitting.
So we just have 2 openings.
Yes.
I'll move that we reappoint to the airport board Brad Reed and Will Carnes.
Support.
all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Okay, the Construction and Zoning Board Appeals. We had 3 openings, and all 3 said they wanted to redo it again, be reappointed. And you can see the 3 that are on there.
Make the motion that we reappoint Harold Shermer, Michael Parrott, and Russell Nelson to the Construction and Zoning Board of Appeals.
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Okay, we got number 10, Land Bank. We had 2 that wanted to do this again, and it was Noel Marmlick and Becky O'Brien.
2 openings, correct?
2, yes.
I'll move that we reappoint William Marmalick and Becky O'Brien to the land bank.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Number 11, appointment to the Planning Commission. There was 1 opening.
1 opening? I'll move that we appoint Kurt Larson to the planning commission.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass. Okay, that's all done. We go to number 12, general public comment. Is there any general public comment?
Hi, Kay.
Good evening, I'm Kay Rollins, and I just wanted to state that it's such a pleasure to be here, and there's no controversy. I am glad that everyone is getting along well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Seeing none, we will close public comment and go on to commissioner comments. And we start with Commissioner
Oh,
Rosell.
yes, I am first, hey? Uh-huh.
Under the gun.
Well, the one thing, there's two things that I wanted to mention tonight. It was brought to my attention that there's a new scamming or frauding going on. It affected several Delta County, either businesses, townships, whatever. It is called check washing, and it happened up in Iron Mountain. And I've got some information, but not all of it, so the rest of it will be brought back at our next board meeting. But what happens is somebody gets the mail and there's a check in there that you're paying a bill or something, and they take it and they wash it. There's three things that they can use to wash your checks, and that is, one is fingernail polish remover, which is acetone, plain old rubbing alcohol, and paint thinner. This has been going on for a little bit of time now. I'm not sure of exactly how long this has been going on. So I just wanted to make the public and the townships and our administrator more cautious of this, that it is going on. But yeah, they take it, they clean off your check with this, and it'll take the ink right off. And then they will sign it for cash, date it, and then they'll take and change the number on there, your check number, and for future use. And then they take it, and two checks that I know of personally were cashed in Iron Mountain. So I just wanted, like I said, I'm going to look into more of this. I'll bring more information back at the next meeting of the county commissioners. But this is something that's real scary, especially for anybody that mails their bills in by a check. The one thing that I did find is that they ask for a certain ink, a gel pen. If you write your checks out, sign your checks with a gel pen, that seeps into the fibers of the check, and it is harder for them to take the acetone or the rubbing alcohol or the paint thinner to remove that ink. So stay tuned, I will have more about that. Then I am very happy to say that this Thursday and Friday, with the rest of my fellow commissioners, we will be at the Island Resort and Casino at the UPACC conference, which is held in the spring and also held in the fall through UPCAP. I'm very excited to go. I got to go before we got sworn in as commissioners, and now I get to go as a commissioner, so I'm very happy and excited to be doing this Thursday and Friday. Thanks, everybody, for attending, and have a wonderful night.
First, the Upper Peninsula County of Commissioners, I'm not on the list. I thought I turned my name in, and our administrator is going to check with Tracy tomorrow to see if I can still go. I'd like to see the plasma gasification presentation and some of the intriguing questions to challenge it that's going to come from our board. I'm very excited to disprove this or see if we can move forward with that. Also, at the last meeting, I misrepresented something at the end, and I just want to, I'm truly thankful for somebody giving me a call after the meeting, because when I went home and I was the negative vote on something, the only negative vote on the issue, I did make a comment on what I didn't know if I said household income, media income, individual income, family income, and it was somewhere around 38,000. So I'm correcting myself today, saying I was wrong. But when I looked online, I can find any figure I want to say at any given time to substantiate anything I say. But what this person did is give me the acceptable standards, which is through the U.S. Census. party. And I'm not, and it's around anywhere from, they broke it down, female, male, but it's around 57,000. Okay, I'm not gonna keep it an exact figure because I don't wanna be challenged on it again. It's bad enough, you know, you say something and I'm glad that I got called on it and fact-checked, so I appreciate that. The other thing is, Acrisure. Is anyone familiar with Acrisure? When we went down to Lansing, I give them my card, I got a call from them. They are looking to do payroll processing. And I have no idea what that entails in Delta County. But I thought I heard Ashley at one meeting saying I have to go in my office and process the payroll. So I thought, maybe if this becomes affordable, it could alleviate some time out of her busy day for doing this. And the guy would like to talk, so I guess what I'm throwing out there is, he's asked me 3-4 times to call him, but I would like to have somebody else be involved in it with me, just to hear it, and preferably our administrator and another commissioner. Because if he starts talking right away, and I'm not sure on how much time it entails or what security stuff we need, and it would be like a public-private partnership, because Northern Insurance Agency, Bruce Movelson is the one that I talked to that got me in contact with this guy after he originally emailed me. So there is a local tie with this company also. So I just thought I'd throw that out there too. Always looking to do things better, just as good, if not better, get up to the best and at less expense. Because I think we're still having a hard time filling someone to help Ashley out in a lot of her duties.
That's actually Mary.
That's Mary.
Oh, Mary?
She was just on vacation that one time.
Oh,
She was
okay.
just covering for
Oh, I thought, oh,
Vacation.
okay, so I misunderstood when you said you were gonna go do the payroll. That's not your
Right, it
job.
was- no.
You can do multi. Okay, so we're not in need of that then. Okay. Well, that helps. See, when you hear things, you try to accommodate and find ways to, I was looking out for you. And it's not even you. Okay, well, I'll cross that off my list. Call them up. The other thing I was able to attend a meeting where we had a presentation by Gladstone Public Safety Officer Lee Solquest. He's a licensed unmanned aircraft pilot. And what he's trying to do is purchase a Brennick Lemur 2 drone. And so I've been asking around with different sheriffs and police people over the last week, what is our fleet? What do we have in our fleet? Because this drone is, with all the services, is gonna be about $20,000. We're trying to have the people of the county support it. It sounds like it's gonna be stationed in Gladstone, but available for any critical incident throughout the whole county, schools, businesses, you name it. And I have a lot of information on it, but I'll just give a couple of,
Excuse me, I just said excuse me.
couple of the neat things that he talked about was that it'll have the effect breaking tempered automobile and residential glass. I think that's pretty neat. I'm a novice drone person from many years ago. I got a license and everything. It's probably not good anymore, but I do have it's another, like, one of them scientific things that are really neat to be involved in. It'll have live streaming off-site, and it can be sent to multiple devices. And the reason I'm telling this, I want people to get excited about something new that's going to be beneficial when the time comes. Two-way communication. So that drone can fly down to somebody that's hurt in a cave, in the water, and start talking. What do you need? And the ability to drop something there. Not a lot of weight, but a life vest, ice picks. I thought it was quite amazing. The other thing is, I do drive the turtle bus in Escanaba, and they have what they call a turtle mode. And I kind of know what that is, kind of slow, but this is a little different. That if this drone gets knocked around somehow and ends up on its back, it has you can engage a button and it'll flip over and redeploy from where it took off. Where some of the new ones, they get knocked down, they're done. You know, so I thought that was good. Like I said, $20,000. I looked it up, and the drone itself isn't that much, but it's the lifetime support, service and repairs, lifetime upgrades. It'll have cyber compliance. That was one of the main issues, because a lot of the drones that we have in service today, the compliance issue is becoming critical, because if they need parts, if they're Chinese made or foreign made, they can stop the parts from coming here for us utilizing them, where these ones here are approved in compliance for that. So I thought that was probably the most important issue of that. So they're gonna have fundraisers. I'm gonna see if I can help out spreading the word of the importance. No tax dollars outside of taxpayers wanting this system in the system by giving $1 or $2. Escanaba Township meeting last night that I attended. Council member for the Veterans Council. I don't know if we have one for District 2 yet. Does anyone know? Well, I made the announcement, and hopefully somebody will fill something out. They decided on a 4-to-1 vote to join with other communities across the state to take on legal challenges of Public Act 233. That's that green energy solar thing. And the main reason for that is they don't feel Public Service Commission has authority to do a lot of the things they're making decisions on, because that should be a different branch. So it's a separation of powers, and they're having more power than what they need to do. And there's over, right around 100 communities that are gonna fight about this, because on November 29th, 2024 is when that creel needs to be done. And if it's not done, these landowners, from what I understand, will be able to apply at the Michigan Public Service Commission to do stuff. And I'd like to see the townships and the landowners work together. There were three things that the township was against not being covered. And that was, they were trying the decommissioning and the location of the panels. There's nothing in that Public Act that talks about that. There was one more thing, but I didn't get to write it down. So I'm sorry about that. But that's a lot of the people I represent in that area, and it's hard, because there's so much animosity out there between the landowners' rights and some of the citizens' concerns about what damage it can do to their wells and stuff like that. And I've just not versed a lot on it, so hopefully we can come up with something that everybody can work with. Just before I came to the meeting, I got a call from a guy named Mike. He's gonna be at the workshop that we're having on Thursday and Friday. And he runs a company called MSI. It's Michigan. It has something to do with the prison system. I didn't get everything. But they make signs, fire signs. And he said they're reasonable, and he's willing to coordinate wherever we need it in the county for the printing of them, the color coordination, all of that stuff. And I said, well, that's fine, I'll talk to you on Thursday. But I didn't know if we should have someone else be there, like someone from the road commission, or, I mean, they're not invited, but I'm just saying, they have all the details of what we're missing in getting this project done. It might be something, if somebody has some ideas, give me a call. The last thing, I was invited by the maintenance crew, Corey and his maintenance crew, Rich and them, to do a walkthrough of some of the projects they did in the last, working on and have completed. I used to work for a plumber and a furnace guy, and so I have a little bit of background on the quality of work that can be done, because I take pride in my work back then, and I still remember, maybe not all the codes, but what needs to be done and how it should be done. I don't think this county realizes how amazing this crew is. Because I walked into that, where they're putting in 2 new little unit heat, boilers, and the piping and everything. And I just want to give them a shout out, just because I appreciated my 45 minutes with them. They showed me how the cement work was working, how they piped everything in, and I know the average person isn't excited about that, but I really appreciate what they did, and I want to thank all of them there, so. With that being said, done for the night. That's enough, eh?
Commissioner Kelly.
You're always a hard act to follow, Steve. First of all, I'd like to congratulate again Steve and Ashley for their Delta Force graduation. We attended the chamber dinner last week, and it was celebrating 100 years of Escanaba City Band. Some of the award winners included author J.L. Hyde, the city of Escanaba, represented by Jim McNeil, Sunbelt Rentals, and then Brenda Lippens won received the Legacy Award. We had airport board meeting today. Everything went well. Let's see, last week, Commissioner Jensen and I attended again another week of the MSUE planners session. It was a 3-hour session, totally specifically on the master plan, learning how to do a master plan from front to back. And that was excellent, and I am 100% positive we're going to be using that at the Planning Commission in the near future. Upcoming this Sunday is the City of Escanaba's Trunk or Treat, starting at 4 p.m. It will be on 11th Street in Ludington, the corner of 11th and Ludington. It's part of the Teal Pumpkin Project, so if you have any children with food allergies, you can bring them to a safe environment, and they can receive candy or another treat option. So that'll be starting at 4 p.m. We have League of Women Voters Forum on Wednesday, the 23rd at City of Escanaba City Hall. And I think that's it.
Commissioner Jensen.
Best part about going, everybody gets to cover most everything, so it makes it quick.
Yeah.
One of them, it's, and Commissioner Kelly's right on, the, covering the master plan portion from front to back, that will, that's another one of those that we discussed has been tabled far too long.
Yep.
And so I know that's on our short-term list here, especially after completing the course to form committee and actually start tackling that again. That's overdue as well. Again, congratulations to both Ashley and Steve on their graduation from Delta Force. Other than the airport meeting we had, it was a light week for me as far as meetings go. I do know we had finalized some other dates for 501 for negotiations with several of our groups here within the county. And I think we're still at 4 that we need to finish up before the first of the year. And we are on track to do those.
Nothing for me.
Okay, I had pretty much a slow week, but this week's gonna be getting nasty. Gonna be busy. After the conference at the Island Sunday, I am going to a County Mental Health Association conference down in Traverse City. I do have to be down there for a delegate, and our first meeting is at 5:40 on Sunday night, so, won't be coming home till probably Tuesday, so that'll be a busy one. Thank you for coming. Again, thank you, Ashley and Steve, for
John?
graduating.
John, I forgot one issue that I wanted to do right away, but can I make?
Go for it.
Nope, remarks complete.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to thank Mr. David Dennell for putting his
applying,
application in, and that I wanted to tell him that I support his ability to wanna serve.
Serve,
And I don't know how long the applications stay, but I supported those that were in there. Just, experience does make a difference when you get on a board, and I'm hoping that he just continues to pursue helping our county out. I just thank him. Thank you, Mr. David Dennell.
Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
Nancy, when does early voting start
October 26th,
at Wells Township?
yes.
And
Wells Township.
what are the hours for that?
8 to 4.
8 to 4. Okay, thank
Every
you.
day for 9 days through November 3rd.
So the 26th is a Saturday, so it's through the weekend? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And it's for
Yeah,
all,
that was important.
all.
And it's for all
voters.
districts,
Yeah.
right? Yes,
All-
okay. All voters. Okay.
We don't have a meeting.
No. Yeah.
Okay, meeting schedule, regular Board of Commissioners meeting on 11/5/2024 at 5:15 right here. 30-day notice of appointments, none, and I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Support,
Support.
all in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Motion passed.